We were just talking on the Nerve the other day. There's a documentary about the artist Billy Joel that's airing now on HBO, and he and his sister refer to his mother who had rage explosions like this, and they describe their childhood as quote walking on eggshells as bipolar. And I think there's a lot of confusion between what a bipolar mother presents as and a borderline mother presents as. Is there much of a difference, Sam?
Yes. Bipolar disorder is cycling between moods, and the cycles take a very long time. Typical bipolar cycle is weeks to months. Months is very common.
Whereas manic versus depressive?
Manic versus what used to be called manic depressive, yes. Hypomanic and manic. While in borderline personality disorder, the cycling is very, very fast. It's accelerated. Like the borderline can switch between moods within the hour or within hours. It's extremely rare to document a case where a mood lasts for 4 days. That's considered to be an outlier, something amazing. So that's the first difference. The second difference is everything that is happening to the bipolar is an outcome, a direct outcome, and a result of the underlying mood disorder. Whereas in borderline personality disorder, the mood disorder is ancillary, is not a main clinical feature. There are other clinical features which are much more relevant in borderline and which are completely absent in bipolar disorder. Anyone who confuses the two is a bad clinician, to use a British understatement.
But if you're a child or an adult child, what is absent in the bipolar mother that is present in the borderline or vice versa? What behaviors?
The bipolar is predictable.
Okay.
You know that father right now can't sleep, is into harebrained schemes of getting rich quick, so that's a manic phase. And for sure as a child that the next phase is father goes to bed and never leaves bed for a few months. So it's utterly predictable. The cycling is predictable. Whereas with a borderline mother, there's no way, there's no model, there's no theory you can construct which will predict the mother's future behavior. And we say that when you are with a borderline mother, there is a failure of what we call theory of mind. There's a failure of mentalization. You cannot create a theory about your mother's mind which would allow you to feel safe, to feel that you are in a secure base. And that is terrifying for a child. It's a horror movie. There are two other issues, I think, with a borderline mother. The first I've mentioned, which is the bad object, the messaging that you are not good enough, you're unworthy, you're a failure, you're disappointing, you're this, you're that. And the second, I think, problem is that the mother sets you up for failure. You see, when you as a child, you're confronted with a bad mother, a dysfunctional mother.
Dysfunctional, yeah.
Yes. When you're confronted with such a mother, as a child, you have two options. You can say, my mother is dysfunctional, but that's terrifying. Because if your mother is dysfunctional, she won't feed you, she won't shelter you, you may die. So no child adopts this position. No child says, yeah, my mother is the problem. The other option is to say, I am the problem. It's all happening because of me. I'm doing something wrong, or I am wrong. So you adopt this stance that you are the reification of wrongness. You are wrongness embodied and personified, and you spend the rest of your life believing that you are wrong. Now, because of that, it's very difficult for people to reach a level of self-awareness because it requires them to admit finally that nothing's wrong with them, that it's mother. And they still have the inner child that is terrifying of admitting this. Because you see, if you're 6 months old and you reach a conclusion that mother sucks and, is not unlikely to feed you or shelter you or protect you, that's life-threatening. No child would do this. And we only kid ourselves when we distinguish these phases in life. Now we are adults, we are not children. That's not true. We're always children.
Yeah.
especially when it comes to mother.
Absolutely. You know, it's fascinating in my mother's case, she had a true gift of relating to she was so good with babies and children, you know, once they hit, especially kids who weren't hers. But, you know, I found I would always say, you know, the problem is once you become of an age where you develop your own thoughts and personality and you're going to defy the mother. And that's where the conflict would come in with her. But I always felt her gift was so pronounced with babies and children because she was a child herself. I believe her borderline personality developed as a result of, from all of my reading, the trauma of losing her mother very young, of feeling abandoned, of going through several more traumas before she even hit the age of 20. And instead of getting help, again, it was a different time. It was always just the I've spoken to relatives about this. The constant refrain in the house was, that's just how she is. She's otherwise a wonderful person. Just go along to get along and we'll just move. It's the easiest way to keep this train going.